All right. So I'm just going to do my trade review right now because I technically had a one good trade and I probably shouldn't trade the rest of the day. Um, I'm not necessarily saying I won't trade the rest of the day, but um, still holding my shares. I'm holding like 10% of my remaining shares in IWM here. Um, and so we'll see if it pulls all the way back or what. Um, so I guess what I was seeing today was IWM, basically along with the Qs and the SPY, did a similar move the last 3 days. They had a big down move. They had an indecision doji, and then today was the what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna gap, etc. And we basically just stayed inside the doji, and then did a quick sort of rising devil pop to the top of that doji, and I was more bearish, and that's kind of like my starting to become my favorite setup, which is that pop at the open and then hitting that key level and then shorting it. Um, so that's pretty much what happened. So I guess I call this a you could call it like a 3 bar play, down, uh, sort of a pullback or indecision, and then you get long at the pullback here, and this is like the level right here. Um, and it could have potentially broken the doji from yesterday, so the low of yesterday. That's still a potential because we're still just at noon. We still got 4 hours, so we could potentially do it. But I would say, I'm not sure. Maybe it is just going to be an inside day. Um, and then let's see. Let's see what SPY looks like. So SPY is sort of the same thing. Down day, indecision yesterday, a really good doji, and then not quite as much of a pop. Um, so here's the 5 minute for the SPY down day. Here's your indecision. This is the 5 minute. Okay. Here's your yesterday's doji. Really, it was the low is here, but most of the action was in here. And then today, price opens kind of right at the bottom of that value area, then does come up. So this didn't give you as good of a play. Essentially for IWM, I did IWM gave you the move all the way up to sort of this area, and then I shorted from there. So whereas SPY didn't go up as far, and you can see kind of higher lows happening. So overall looks bearish, just didn't give the levels quite as good as IWM. If you look at IWM here real quick one more time, here's IWM, the same similar down move, and then doji, with most of the action happening sort of in this top 50 percentile here, but still this being the low, which created that doji here. And then today price opens up sort of at the low of that value area, just like the SPY. However, it gave you a really good 15 minute. These are 3 5 minute candles, so two good ones and then one even higher one, and then some selling starting to occur there. And you can see here it took it about 5, 10, 15 to 20 minutes to turn around. I kind of had a couple different lines here, but overall it was like a zone here of resistance. Still kind of struggling to get in really tight there because closer to the open like that, I really don't know how far it could fluctuate and come up and then back down. But I guess that's just the risk that we take there. My stop was sort of wide. I feel like it was closer to 221. And then I told myself if it gave me another good look where it was confirming it was going down, I would add in. And that's kind of what happened. I mean, it gave a good 20 minutes of consolidation here, and then it sort of made a new 5 minute low, and that's when I added in for like a separate stop here. So I had a stop up here and then a stop right here. It really only equaled to maybe 1 to 1.5 R risk, honestly. So I could have been way bigger. I could have been up to 2 R risk, had I gotten in a bit tighter on my first entry. Had I gotten in a bit tighter on my first entry, I might not have even added though. I'm just trying to build more confidence right now. Just haven't been trading like I want to in the last month. So if I can keep having slow, good days like this where I'm following the process, then I'll start maybe getting in a bit tighter or adding in, etc. So this was just overall a good confidence boosting day, and it all made sense though too. So and I did make enough on it to make it worth it, I would say. Um, and then so then when I did get short, um, I did want to take a little bit off at that value low here, sort of where price came back here, and then even closed at. So there was, and it was near opening print, I believe, or the low of the day so far. So took off some. The majority I took off right here. The reason B is because even though the doji low was here 2 days ago, that big sell off, the low was there, and I just felt like, is it going to come here? Is it come here? I just felt like this was the better play, just get most of it out there, and that's what I did. And then I held some more, took some off. So now I just have 10% left in case it does come up, and maybe later who knows, maybe later some new volume will come in and it will break 216, and then we'll get a new sell-off here. If so, I might add in then. But you can see here on the 5-minute on this side, I guess you kind of can't see it with my video here, but you can see VWAPs right there. So could hopefully have some resistance here, and maybe this will be the highest it goes here for the rest of the day. Maybe it could go a little bit higher, hit that daily level, and then come back around. Who knows? But I just feel like it probably won't come up. If it does come all the way up, I feel like, well, maybe it'll test high of day. I don't know. So here is NVIDIA, and this is how you can sort of combine all of these big stocks, big growth, tech, blue chip, etc. stocks. You can sort of combine them and look at their big levels to give you a clue as to if, IWM or the other stocks are going to break their levels. So for example, NVIDIA here, the daily, right? We had that really good level from back here, and it held it for a few weeks here, and then it held it again yesterday, right? And it still technically hasn't broken it yet, so it's still sort of supporting it. And so it's not a short just yet. It's pushing down against it, right? And so here's the last 3 days, the sell down with the market essentially, then the doji, and you can see here that level, this is the level, that big 272 level held yesterday and gave a good long, and then today couldn't go much higher than yesterday's doji, kind of like the markets, and then sold all the way off. However, again, couldn't break 272. So that to me is linked to, IWM and the Q and stuff. So IWM can't break yesterday's doji. NVIDIA can't break its 272 level. NVIDIA has almost a better level. It's got that big higher time frame 272 level plus yesterday's doji day. So basically what I'm saying is if you get a clue that NVIDIA starts to break 272, that might also tell us that IWM might have the potential to break yesterday's low, or SPY or Q might have. See, they all are setting up some, like you look at SPY here, it's sort of at that inflection now, right? It tested yesterday's low. It actually broke through it. So SPY is maybe a little bit weaker in that regard, but it did bounce back up. The Q definitely broke yesterday's doji, but then got back above it. So we're all sort of testing. All these stocks are sort of testing and pushing down against that support. So I mean, overall, it looks really weak. I mean, whether it's today or it's next week, I feel like all these support levels are sort of linked, and I feel like they're all going to fail soon. So Microsoft, similar thing. Yeah, I mean, you look at Microsoft on the daily here. It had a gap sort of around that time, that similar day where Nvidia had that big move, probably the same day, had a gap and then a move up, good volume. Um, but you can see here that it actually broke through that, and it's sort of just sitting in between here, kind of holding the gap fill. So they all are slightly different, but they're all sort of setting up similarly. They have these good support levels in areas where it's holding, and I just feel like if one of them or a few of them start to give, I think they're all going to kind of give because they're all, a lot of these are growth and the tech sector, and that's looking weaker with the interest increasing in interest rates. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm happy with my WM trade. I think you could have gotten a short on a lot of other trades. Let me know if you guys had seen any others similar to this. I feel like, Nvidia was sort of a similar setup. And then for the opposite, so you guys were calling out Ford, and 25 definitely was about the highest it went. It just happened to do it only in the pre-market. But it didn't give as good of a sell-off. I mean, I guess if you would have gotten in at the pre-market or maybe right at the open with this general area being resistance, you would have gotten a move back inside. But you see how it really couldn't go more than about the inflection. And I think it is linked to the market, but that's the difference between this stock and the others, is like this one is a uptrending one, right? So you have to use the levels a bit differently. Like it's still more bullish, however, pullbacks are happening and the market is sort of negative. So you can use these levels on the down move, but it's probably quicker to move back up as opposed to like IWM is going to be quicker to sell off because just overall it's just weaker. So yeah, that's all I got. Thanks.